Like many, I was entirely dependent of my mother until I graduated high school and came to college. So dependent that you would believe that I breastfed until I was 18 years old. So I'd like to ask you guys, how many of you woke up on your own in high school? Or how many of you packed your own lunch? But most importantly, how many of you guys would have been able to graduate and be where you are today if it weren't for the help from your parents? I know that I wouldn't have. My mom was essentially my school survival guide. She would spend 30 minutes every morning trying to wake me up just to make sure that I got to class. I was always late, and I had more absences than any kid who has ever had mono. So how was I going to go off to college? How would I do this on my own? Marissa made it pretty clear that I couldn't pick a roommate, so I obviously couldn't bring my mom with me. It was then that I realized I had to take accountability for my own life. I had to recognize my responsibilities and make them my priorities, which began with waking up by myself in the morning. My dad reminded me of a quote that he would relate to me anytime I missed work or class, and that was that 80% of life is showing up. When you get to college, no one's going to be there to wake you up in the morning and make sure you get out of bed. So I encourage you to take extreme measures to getting up in the morning. Set 37 alarms. Ask your roommate to play Iggy Azalea on an endless loop until you want to get up and punch yourself in the face when you get to class, because attendance is the key to success.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
When you miss class, you're missing out on a lesson. When you miss out on a lesson, you're unprepared for an upcoming exam. And I know what a lot of you are thinking, because I obviously thought the same thing. Well, in high school, I just would ask the teacher for the notes after class. But no teacher is always going to be willing to give you the notes if you have an unexcused absence in their class. You're not always going to have a friend in the class to give you the notes. So you're going to have to be able to move past that and make yourself be able to get to class. So I'd like to ask you a question. Have you ever tried taking something out of the oven and you end up burning your hands?
Yes.
Yeah, well, that happened because you were unprepared. You didn't put on gloves. And that same idea pertains to the classroom. If you come to class unprepared, you're going to get burned. Not by an oven, but by your professor. I can remember the times in high school where I would show up to class, we would have a class discussion, a teacher would call on me, and I would only have the sounds of silence to just disappoint them, to sit in their seat and say, I have nothing to say. The amount of times I would go to the bathroom before the beginning of a period and sit in the bathroom for 43 minutes until the bell rang, because I knew there was going to be a class discussion that I couldn't partake in, and I would get called on and look stupid, as I always did. I can't tell you how good it now feels to be able to raise my hand, to answer a question correctly, and give value to my peers and my teachers. I'd rather fart in a silent lecture hall nowadays than to be unprepared for a reading or a class discussion. So now I'd like you guys to imagine something really quick. I know no one watches NASCAR because it's entirely pointless and it's just cars going in circles. But imagine a NASCAR driver himself had to get out of his car, change his own tires, and do his own maintenance routines. That would be ridiculous if he had no crew. He would never finish on time, and there would never be an end to the race. And you can bet that this is a metaphor for utilizing your resources in college. No one should ever be afraid to ask for help, to go to get a tutor, to go to the writing center, to meet with your professor during their office hours. It all helps. No matter how strong you are, how well educated you think you are, everyone needs help. Michael Jordan, he had Scottie Pippen. Kobe Bryant had Shaquille O'Neal. Lance Armstrong, he used steroids. I'm not encouraging you to use performance-enhancing drugs, but I am saying if you need help, just ask for it and you won't regret it. So what I hope you took away from this today was that everyone can use a lending hand and that your mom and dad have officially retired. It is up to you to be your own survival guide. I can't tell you the rewarding feeling that it has to be a self-sufficient individual, to take life head-on without using my parents as a security helmet. And I know you might be thinking, you have your doubts, and you might not be able to do it, but you can do it, because I did. Thank you.